Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project number 80. Yes, hard to believe. Number 80. Let me just get rid of this. Okay, sorry about that. I was not entirely prepared. But we are here. We are good. Hello, Mally MFC. And we are back to get back to the writing of the rough draft, which we left off last time. Sorry. Let's do a couple of intro things. My name is Glenn Gers. I am here every Monday through Friday, if I can make it, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, to take you through the writing of a TV drama hour-long pilot script, from rough idea to outline to rough draft, which is where we are now, and eventually to a finished draft, hopefully, and let you look over my shoulder as I do this in the hope that it will somewhat demystify the writing process. It is not the only process. It is not the best process. It's just the one that I worked out during my 25 years as a TV and screen writer professionally. I figured out this stuff, and I'm self-taught, as almost all screenwriters have been until recently. And I thought, nobody ever showed me. It would have been so much easier if somebody had said, when you're doing this, if you just do this, at least you get the basic components of a script done. And that is what we are trying to show you here. Hello, Larry. So that's what's going on. Let's get right into it by opening up this document, the outline. All right. So last week, what we did was we worked on this new intercut sequence. It's going to be cutting between a bunch of the other characters who we have not spent much time with to give a little glimpse of their lives, and essentially set up the situation where they're all going to come together at the end of the episode. And so we spent some time last week figuring out what exactly happens in each sequence. That's what these notes are. This is the outline for this sequence that hasn't been written yet. Today, I thought, you know what? The important thing about this is that we're setting up the big end of the third act, when the group and Madeline and Norman and the serial killer all come together. Now, this is the tricky part. That big coming together is online. In other words, they're not all going to be in the same place. They're going to be on Zoom or on the phone. And therefore, we need to set that up, which means if Madeline, Norman, and Zena, the main three characters, are at George's house, then the others are going to be piped in by Zoom, which means we want to set up that George has a really big screen TV. We want them to be in the room with the characters. We want as much play as we can get in the actual space of reality, not just online flat. So, one of the things we're going to need to do is set up that George has a really big screen TV. And we have to think about where that's got to be set up several times in the earlier part of the script. Before this, establish that. Okay, so that's part one. Is I'm going to do that and just say this is I have to figure out where this is going to happen. So actually, it's going to be way back here. All right. When we meet Madeline at the house. All right. So when when we get to the house, where is it? Ah, Madeline arrives, George's house. Okay. So, boop, boop, yeah. Somewhere in here. All right, we are going to establish that George has a really big screen TV. That is very important because that is how, one of the things you're always doing is, trying to get really into each scene and the intricacies of the moment and the feeling. And then you step out, and here in the outline, you say, wait a second, what's the point of this? This is setting up that thing later, or this is going to throw us off the track of that thing. So one of the things that we are working on now, let me skim. Okay. From here on, we are heading towards the climax of the episode, the third act, although there aren't really 3 acts in an episode of hour long, or at least there don't have to be. So the thing that we need to do here is this intercut sequence set up each character for the big coming together that in the third act. So I am just making this a note to myself here. Okay. And this, okay, and so this is just a little note to myself. Oh, can't do that. Can I do this? Yeah, let's change. I like to do this so that I don't forget things, that I don't miss it. I just change the color, set up each character for the big coming together. Is something they need. Okay. So this is just a reminder of what this is. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. All right. So you all with me still? You following what I'm doing here? So now we've got a bunch of scenes. We've got 3 scenes that we need to cut between, which is Dundosky, McLean, and Shrimpton living their lives. This is the morning. And what we know is in this morning, Dundosky gets home to discover someone has done something wrong and a minion is clamoring for justice. But I really meaning Ridge. Okay, so the first thing is Dundosky gets home from to his drug empire. That's right. Okay, that's the first thing we know. Now, someone has done them wrong. Okay. So now, who did him wrong and how? Okay, question. So he's a meth dealer. The obvious ways, let's just brainstorm. That is what you do when you're trying to figure stuff out. Kitschy, I'm on mountain time. Yeah, I know the feeling. It's been weird. The time change has I think thrown a lot of people off. We have not that many people on today. It happens. It's okay. This will go down in the records and become just like every other episode, full of rich and juicy things you guys can learn. Someone's walking past my gate, using the gate. Okay. All right. So the first thing is what we're doing here is we are just starting to get the details of these scenes. Okay, the obvious ways that someone can do a meth dealer wrong is not paying for drugs, trying to cut in on their territory, ripping off his sub-dealers. Okay, so these are ways that this might, the wrong. Not paying for drugs is kind of, yeah, you know, it's a tricky thing in life. You're lucky if you don't have to. Uh, so, all right. Not paying for drugs is a little complex. It's like, well, how did they not pay? Did they like, which really would be some form of ripoff, because you can't just, it's not like they didn't pay their credit card bill. I mean, usually a drug deal happens there in the moment. And if you don't put the money out, that's where the conflict happens. So let's just keep simplifying this. Who is still a question. Either trying to cut into territory or ripping off sub-dealers. Well, here's the thing. Are we going to murder? I don't think we want to go to murder. I think we want to go to violence, but not murder. Okay. So, yeah, I think it's the easiest thing is just ripping off their territory, cutting in on their territory. So who is that? Who is doing this? Well, that's actually not true. It is justice. He's this is interesting. Maybe I have to change it, because right now, essentially, someone has broken the law of dealing. So that would be justice. But I wanted to point out the difference between, I want Dondosky to point out the difference between its revenge. So that's an interesting question. What I want to get here is a moral question. So the question is, what would be something that would require revenge and not justice? What would it be that would not be just to take revenge? Like, in other words, if they were... Okay, so this goes back into the question mode. Okay, so the difference between justice and revenge... This is a large issue. I know it's a large issue. I'm just trying to think specifically of the fine point of, well, okay, let's think about this. What makes something revenge and not justice? What makes it? Is it that he's operating, like, in other words, justice would be something that is done. No, it doesn't have to be. Justice could be something that was done by a third party for you. Like, I want Dondosky to actually point this difference out, which means, hang on just a second. I'm just going to do something simple, which is I am going to look up the definitions. Revenge versus justice. Okay, this is interesting. Difference between .net. That's where I'm getting this from. Okay. This is interesting. Psychology Today. I'm looking at Psychology Today right now. And let me see if I can just, let me get my, all right. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, good. Now, and now I can look at, okay. So this is, I am cribbing here from a Psychology Today article. I am doing this without planning to copyright infringe. I am simply taking concepts. Concepts, ideas, are not copyrightable. This is good stuff. So I am just going to credit this in a second. See, this one doesn't strike. This one strikes me as this is tricky because you can do both. Okay, so let me just tell you, because I have taken Dr. Leon F. Seltzer, PhD. Hang on, let's just take a look at this. Okay, Dr. Leon F. Seltzer, PhD, has in Psychology Today written about confusing revenge with justice, 5 key differences, and I like that. That's cool. Okay, so now let's get into, let's put this into question just because it's easy to do. See, some of these, and this is good because we're not going to use all of this. We're not going to just crib his 5 points. Because honestly, what's the difference? I mean, I'm sure there is a difference in his essay. He probably went into it in great detail. And hey, just let me know. Am I boring the crap out of everybody? Because I find this fascinating. This is where I'm trying to get a concept into a character. And in order to do that, I need to define the concept. Yes, exactly. This is what the doctor said. It's starting to get pretty technical. Yes, that is true. There are a lot of plates in the air, but that's the job, isn't it? Okay, so all right. I'm going to take this one out because I think it's too complex. I'm going to take this one out because, you know, you can make that argument, but you could also not. All right, good. Yes, in theory, I could cite the page, but by the time I'm done, and this is an important thing to know, by the time you are done, you should have taken a basic idea and transformed it to something which is essential and not a copying of their copyright. I've already removed some of his concepts because I don't believe that they are accurate to our emotional, to our dramatic moment. This is not about an essay. This is about that that Dundosky has a very specific take on what's the difference between his job and his after-hours justice. Okay. So the question is, so what I want to do here is I want to get it to a scene where while doing violence, Dundosky points out, in other words, what I want to do here is get a sense that Dundosky is both intellectually interesting and at the same time monstrous. I think that's fun. Carried out by a third party, by the law, the government, and authority, not taking sides. Okay, so these are things that Dundosky is going to say. So, okay, cool. So now that's all gone. I got that. Boom. All right. Okie dokie. So, density of Titan's atmosphere. That's good. All right. So now let's get back to this, the pink stuff. Let's get to this undecided stuff. Okay, who is it and what are they doing? Okay, so the fact is that this is not justice. It's because there is no legal or moral authority to cutting into the territory. That's cool. That's fair. In other words, he's Dundosky knows that he's not being just here. That's cool. That's enough of his character. So the question is, who is doing it? Okay, who? We want someone scary and equally someone intimidating, someone a worthy adversary. So part one of this sequence is Dundosky sighs and gets to work prepping for a visit to the wrongdoer. Okay. So who is it? What do we want to make these people distinctively like? Should I make them Eastern European outsiders? Should I make them just more bikers? Okay, for the moment, let's not worry about it. Okay, so, all right, now we have that Dundosky's scene is in 2 parts, which means now these other sequences should also be in 2 or 3 parts so that we can intercut them. We have to be weaving them. You have to be able to go part 1, part 1, part 1, part 2, part 2, part 2, etc., etc. We have to figure out, look at that. Okay, so, boom. Now this scene, all right, so the point of this is that part 1, he attempts to make a friend or romance and fails. Okay, part 1. And then part 2, see him alone. Okay. I'm just trying to shorten this, just out of a picky sense that we need to do this. I just want it to be short. All right, good. Oh, look, more people are here. Hey, people, good to see you. What we are doing is we are going through this sequence. It's intercutting the other web sleuths. Intercutting sequence of the other web sleuths, in which we are setting them up for the big coming together. This is an interesting thing. Well, okay, so how does each one of these get set up for the setup for later is he knows and cares about justice even when his life requires him not to do it. Okay, so that's the setup. Okay, that's good. The setup here set up for later is he's lonely and unappreciated, and this sleuthing world is better for him. That's not how you spell appreciated. That's not how you spell sleuthing. And now things are better. Okay. Okay, so now we get to the third. We've got of the three sequences we're going to be intercutting. Here's the third one. Now the point here is that she's regretting being set up for later. Okay, so someone. Okay, so who is she home? All right. So this is a case of, is she, okay, there's two possibilities. Let's brainstorm. At home or at work? Honestly, it's kind of more interesting at work because she works in a hospital or something. So let's just make a decision. It's work. She is at work. There we go. Boom. Decided. This is the business of writing. You make choices. Let's see, do I have that here? Yeah, here we go. Boom. Writing is making choices. Remember that. That is what we are doing. We are facing each moment and saying, okay, so now we know we have this scene, but regretting it. Oh, Nurse Shrimpton. Lonely. Ugly job. Ugly job. Okay. So, someone, another nurse. Reluctantly provoked to defend it. Okay, what is she? Yeah, good. What is she is maybe doing something to try to occupy herself. Crossword puzzle, online game. Okay. So then someone ragging on sleuthing. Okay. Okay, yeah. So let's talk about going through withdrawal. All right, so now who is it who is regretting, who is ragging on it, and what would they be doing? Okay, so who is this someone? Another nurse, a patient. Who else is at the hospital? Orderly. Boom, boom. The other thing we're going to try and do here is later figure out other things to set up here that will pay off in later episodes. Actually, it's going to be true for all three of them. Set up in this sequence. In other words, like when the things that Dundowski is doing here or McLean's life has got to in some way be stuff that later on in some other episode we find out that he's, you know, the person he's in love that he's trying to romance has access to something that he will need later in the story, or something about what Shrimpton is doing at work, or the patient she's talking to, or somebody like that will be valuable, will be something that they can use later. That is an important thing to try to add in. I can't do it now, but I want to make a note. Figure out things set up in this sequence, right? Okay, that's just a note to myself, so I can, all right. Okay, good, good, good. Look at this. We've got all of this going. So, all right, now we know what this is about. So, I believe we already introduced a character in Dunda. I am searching. Yes. Okay, so just Dundowski. Let me see. Next. Oh. Go backwards. Boop. All right. So the point is somewhere in here. Okay, here it is. Carl is going to... We're going to see Carl leave his office, and if I recall, at some point he shot up his... Yeah. Marcus, see? How many times have I told you not to block my car? So, Marcus. So now we are going to use Marcus. This is important. This is a thing you should always do. Use what you have. Do I have this as a slogan here? Use what you have. Use what you have. It's a whole video that I did. Use what you have. In other words, when we need to do some more with Carl, if we already have that he's got a person in his world, let's use that person. Oh, look at all these blank pages. That's a pain. Hold on. We're going to get rid of some blank pages here. Got a little excess. All right. Whoa. Okay. So, warehouse. It's not early morning. It's just morning. You don't want to get too snazzy with these slug lines because it doesn't matter. You don't want to get them ornate. You want to keep them very, very spare and simple. That's the thing about slug lines. Slug lines are about time, place. That's all you really want to get into a slug line. You don't want to put everything else into the text. Okay. Meth lab before it opens. Beautifully quiet. The Dondowski's truck pulls up and he stretching. He's been driving. So the thing I'm trying to get here is that Dondowski is enlightened. He is not your average biker meth dealer. Marcus bangs out of the office, hyped up. Oh, look at that! Roddy's here. Hello, Roddy. Welcome. We are roughing in this new sequence. Oh, Marcus, you have the same first initial. Here's the thing. It's not a big deal, but when you have a new character, try not to use the same initial as a main character, because here's what's going to happen. M. We've already got, okay, Murray was not serious. Marcus is a character. It would be better if he didn't accidentally bring up Madeline, because that's what happens, is that when you type the initial, it's going to bring up Madeline. So, Marcus. Carl. That is crappy dialogue, but it will serve for now. What? I wanted you to know you would know. All right. This is terrible dialogue that I will not keep, but for the moment it says Marcus is going to say. No, see, this is what happens. Marcus, Madeline, too close. Okay. All right, so Marcus is going to say, okay, need a name for the people he is going to mess with. I don't know why, but the name Swiper just came in. Swiper, no swiping. For those of you who are Dora the Explorer fans. Yeah, no, it's crappy. It's crappy, but I appreciate that. It's just, this is what you call filler. One day I will come up with much. What's wrong with this, by the way, if you want to know, is it is on the nose and it has no distinctive personality. anyone could say this. And we need our characters to not be just anyone. Marcus has got to have a style. Is he timid? Is he agitated? Is he, whatever? And Carl, I'm sure, has a better answer, one that actually gives us more of an insight into what he thinks he was doing. But right now, I don't want to worry about that, because when you're doing the rough draft, it's sometimes more important to get the basic shape in there than to worry about like fretting over a distinctive thing that you may not even be able to keep because the basic shape isn't right yet. Okay, for the moment, Big Leon. Big Leon. Big Leon put some guys on the corner of 4th and what? 4th and River. Through his nose and out slowly through his mouth. He is breathing in a healthy way. Hi, Matthew. Okay. Breathing in deeply through his nose and exhaling. Okay, I don't want this to go on too long, so let's just get right to it. Basically, Carl, we have to get rid of that C. Carl says, oh, wait. Here's an interesting thing. Do I call him two different things? Damn it, Dundosky. Okay. Carl. Okay, what does he say? Does he say, get the machine guns? Is there something? Okay, for the moment, get the machine guns. Okay, so, that's good, that's good. All right, cool. We have gotten part 1 done. 1 and done. Hold on, boom. Okay. Marcus reports on trouble. Okay, so that's this. Okay. And this means, okay, actually, learns a rival is cutting into his territory. Boom, that's it. Okay. So that's where we are right now. Okay, cool. Well, this has been 45 minutes work, so I think I'm going to stop. And tomorrow we will get the next section. We will do some McLean. We're going to get to that. But for now, I think we accomplished something. We got all three of the sequences turned into specific actions, and we are going to start roughing them out. Probably get the rest of it roughed out tomorrow. Not a bad day's work. Well done, y'all. It was good to be here. It was good to see you. Grab the machine guns. Rah! Yes. And so there we go. I will see you tomorrow when we will continue moving ahead. Go write something.